Imagine being told you can no longer do the thing you love most, especially as a kid. For one young football player, that was his reality after undergoing brain surgery. But what happened next is inspiring. With the help of family, faith, and even a golden retriever, he found his way back. And now his story is touching lives through a book called Miracle Maddox. Author Gary Ashley joins us with his son Maddox, and Angelica Drescher is with Hunt with Heart, where all proceeds from the book are going. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. All right, family living in Deer Park, you Gary, your wife Marion, and Jackson, and of course Maddox right here. Maddox, you grew up playing sports. You just loved it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What was it you loved so much about playing football?
I mean, I just loved everything about it. I love being out with all the guys, all my friends. I mean, even the ones that didn't go to school with me, I knew I'd see them every night at practice and get to be with them.
Yeah, teamwork and friendship, right?
Yes.
All right. At 13 years old, something was happening with you that you couldn't quite explain. What was that moment that got your attention health-wise? Because at that age, we're not really thinking about health problems.
Well, I mean, at 13, I had a seizure, and I mean, it changed everything. I mean, I had a seizure in the middle of the night, sleeping with my mom, and I mean, we went to the hospital and found out that I had a problem with my brain.
That gets your attention, doesn't it, when you say a seizure for your young child?
Absolutely. If anyone's ever seen a seizure, they are very scary the first time.
They are, and I saw that with my brother happen. All right, what were you thinking? What was going on?
Well, the shocking part, I was actually out of town, and Maddox asked to sleep with my wife that night, which normally doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So thank God for that. She was in bed with him and found the seizure and was able to get him to the hospital.
Yeah.
If I hadn't have been out of town, how long we would have been until we would have noticed him in his bedroom.
Yeah. What was happening? It was diagnosed as AVM, which basically is a congenital tangle of blood vessels in the brain that can happen in different parts of the body, but in the brain. And oftentimes there are other symptoms associated with it, but that was the one that you had no other symptoms before, or hindsight, looking back, did you have some things?
No, I mean, I don't recall anything. I mean, I felt normal.
Yeah, just for people at home to know something that might get your attention. Headaches and seizures, of course, neurological deficits, vision changes or loss, trouble speaking or understanding. That's sometimes when it's been, in its more advanced stages. But ultimately, a rupture can occur. So that seizure was a great warning sign. Yeah, a blessing. All right, you had brain surgery, and that's tough to deal with when somebody says, okay, we know what it is, but it's going to involve brain surgery.
Scary word.
Yeah.
And, doctors are always going to prepare you for the worst.
Yeah.
So they're going to tell you 10-hour surgery. There's a chance he may not make it. Things like that scare every parent to death, for sure.
Yeah, I had a brain aneurysm at birth, so I had brain surgery. And yes, they say best case, worst case scenario. And obviously the worst case is not making it. So you get through it, but you're happy for that. You feel like you're blessed for that. But then you were told, hey, by the way, that football thing, we're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
you struggled with that.
I did. Football was everything to me, especially at that age when you don't know what you want to do. I mean, I was just centered around football my whole life, and when it was taken away, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, well, depression sets in, right? Because you're like, now what? And then that depression kind of turned around, it shifted when Pinto entered the room. Who was Pinto?
Pinto was the Texas Children's care dog in a way. He would come in and help patients that were, feeling down because, I mean, they've got something going on, and you don't know how to cheer up a kid all the time as an adult. So, I mean, they brought in this golden retriever, and I fell in love with him. I mean, he made my hard days in the hospital. I mean, he made them worth.
And your family made a promise to you: recover, get better, and then what could happen?
I could get my own golden retriever.
Your own golden retriever. Okay, and then your doctor made you a 1-year deal because he saw how much you missed football.
Mm-hmm. She said that give a year and let the skull recover, let it heal, and that, I mean, she would let me return to football, let me play again. And
he returned to football and better than ever.
Yeah, actually, he got player of the game as a center, which is pretty unusual. And at the time, his junior high coach told the high school coach that he was the best center he'd ever seen.
Wow, okay. And you also got your own golden retriever.
Yes.
All right, now let's get to the book, Miracle Maddox. I love the whole idea behind this book, but you told our producer, you said it's the first book and last book I'll ever write.
Yes.
But because it came about with such a specific purpose.
So I knew I wanted to show love towards my son for what he went through. It was hard to see what he went through, but to come through and with such determination. But also, it's more of a gift to my wife. My wife and I were in Salem together last year, and she started picking out children's books for some reason. And when I asked her why, she said she wanted to create a library to read to her grandchildren one day. So it hit me right there. It's like, how about giving her a children's book written by her husband about her son to read to her grandchildren and give it to her as our anniversary.
That is a very thoughtful, specific gift, and you got it done in record time.
So I got it done in 6 weeks, but without the help, a child author I grew up with, her name is Jay Juniper. She also writes children's books, and she mentored me and helped me avoid the traps, and I was able to get the book done in 6 weeks. And what made the book special is every single picture in this book is a picture from our lives that I had illustrated. So for my wife, it's more of a memory book. So
yeah, that is so cool. And then reading to your grandchildren. Do you have any grandchildren right now?
No, that's why I was puzzled when she was picking them out.
She's a planner. Yeah. Also, there's an example of kind of the illustrated pictures made off of the real pictures, like one of them where your wife is holding your son right there after surgery. All right. One of the things that you do, Maddox, is that you help mentor kids who are going through it, much like that the Golden Retriever mentored you or made you feel better. You make kids feel better by telling them, you'll get to the other side. It'll be fine. You'll find your purpose. Hunt with Heart is going to be the recipient of the proceeds from this book. And Angelica, tell us what this organization is.
So Hunt with Heart is a local nonprofit. We take kids with heart conditions on hunting and fishing adventures. And Maddox was able to come to one of our camps in the spring of 2021 when he was 14. And that was 1 year after his brain surgery. And they had recently discovered that he also had a heart condition. So he learned about Hunt with Heart at Texas Children's Hospital.
Wow. Speak to the power of having another young person hold the hand of and look into the eye of another young person and tell them it's going to be all right. You, Angelica.
Maddox was able to come back to our camp this year as a counselor. So he's now become a mentor to our new kids coming into the camp. We had 6 brand new kids to join our organization from the ages of, I believe, 12 to 17 at this last camp. And he was the counselor for the camp. So he was able to mentor them and show them the ropes and get them feeling comfortable with their condition.
Letting them know it's going to be all right. All right. And Maddox, you're in college now, looking forward to what's next. And so thank you so much for coming on and sharing this story. You can purchase your copy of Miracle Maddox through Amazon. Again, all proceeds benefit the Hunt with Heart organization. For more information or to connect with these gentlemen, visit greatdayhouston.com. We'll be right back.